So today, I'm still in the Ximending neighborhood, but I just left my apartment and just started walking. No specific plan today. I thought I might walk north and just see what happens, but then I saw a stairway heading up to one of the bridges, and I wasn't really sure if you could actually walk across these bridges. Lord knows I'm the only one on this particular bridge. But I was like, yeah, fuck it, all right, I'll just hop up there and walk across. It's way further than I thought, because this river is two rivers. There's a little island in the middle, which I do see like a little farmstead set up down here. Oh, there's a rooster. And yeah, somebody's got just like a little farming shack set up down there. I guess they're growing stuff. But then behind that is, the other half of the river, which is even bigger. I didn't realize how huge this river is. But I'm on the Zhongxiao bridge, which again, I'm still learning pronunciations. I don't actually know anything. Except that perhaps the X sound is a sh sound. But it's Zhongxiao bridge. And it was raining earlier today. It was pretty overcast. Now the sun's coming back out, but it's not too awful. That's kind of why I thought I'd just go for a walk. It's not 100% crazy heat. It's just kind of normally crazy heat. But yeah, I got up here and I'm walking and I'm like, this is actually really pretty. Because like I've mentioned a few times, being within the expressway walls of Taipei, you can't really see to any great distance. So being up on this bridge, I can see another bridge to my left, another bridge to my right, mountains in the distance to my right, to the north, more city to the left, city ahead of me. It's all just quite pretty. It's all city, but it's just, pretty city. However, I am noticing up here, like this is something I mentioned last episode when I got to the edge of Taipei and got up onto a mountain with a cemetery on it and was looking back, that I could see how polluted the air was, where I just really couldn't tell when I was down in the city. And I'm definitely noticing that here. Like everywhere I look, it's very much reminding me of how things looked in Seoul. Like seeing the Latte Tower way in the distance from Bukhansan, and it just looked like a science fiction obelisk, on the cover of like a 1970s sci-fi novel. Just some weird giant building way off in the haze. This isn't quite that bad because it's summertime and that was the middle of winter. But this is pretty bad, actually. I think this is like the worst that pollution has been since I left Seoul. Jecheon wasn't this bad. Busan wasn't this bad except for the one big time when a bunch of pollution fell on the city all at once that apparently happens every year. But average day to day, it wasn't that bad. I don't know, I just thought I'd mention that this is pretty, but also, I shouldn't be surprised. There's always traffic everywhere, all the time. The only time I've ever really been away from traffic was yesterday when I got to the edge of town, and a little bit when I was at one of the parks on the other side of the expressway where it's only cyclists. Other than that, it has just been traffic all the time. And this bridge, there's 4 giant buses I can see, and just an endless line of cars. And then right next to me is the scooter lane. There's a dedicated scooter lane, and it's moving a lot quicker than the cars and the buses. So it seems less busy, but there's more people going by. So it probably balances out more or less. It's not too surprising. Not to mention, I suppose, also, that we are right off the coast of China. And China is where pollution is born in this part of the world. I think all the countries in this part of the world have their role to play, but there's no question that proximity to China makes things worse, not better. So I'm not surprised. It all seems pretty normal. that it would be this hazy. But it's certainly concerning because this is the middle of summer. This is the time of year when apparently these things are at their lowest. I have a sneaking sensation that Taipei in the winter might be really polluted. Yeah, like, man, I'm just looking at these mountains to the north and like they are very fucking hazy. Really hazy. It's like hard to make out the one that's like the farthest back mountain I can see from here. It's almost disappearing, like as though it's like a super duper misty bathroom. Like I just got out of the shower and I'm looking at a fogged over mirror. Like that's how it looks. And then looking the other way, oh, there we go. Now to the south I can see now I can see that to the south there are mountains as well, but they're farther away and bigger. But yeah, they're virtually, they become invisible, you know, like they just disappear into the fog, into the pollution mist. I didn't actually check the AQI today, so I don't know specifically what it is. It's been hovering around 50 or 60. But yeah, it could just be that when you see, you know, that 50 or 60, though that's not nearly as bad as things could be. A lot of it, I guess, just comes down to your field of view. Like, how far can you see? Because if you can only see a few blocks, because you're right in the middle of the city, it doesn't seem that bad. Once you have, you know, once you can see all the way to the mountains, it's bad, man. It's quite bad. Now I'm coming to the other side, and it seems like the best bet would be just to get off this bridge and walk along the park on this side. I'm just looking at where do the subway trains go. Yeah, it looks like I'm pretty safe either way. It looks like either direction, because it's pretty late in the day. It's like 4:45. It seems like I can just walk and walk and walk, and when I'm ready to bail out, there's a lot of subway stations, so that should be no problem to just bail out when it's time to bail out. But yeah, that's an unfortunate update, but I guess, you know, again, not surprising. It all makes sense. The proximity thing especially, I mean, I never noticed the air problems at all in Tokyo or Western Tokyo, even though if you look just at the numbers, you know, there are some issues. In Fukuoka, you know, again, that's much, much closer to this part of the world. And I did notice it there, but I didn't know what I was looking at, you know. I'd be up on a mountain and I'd say, man, it looks pretty hazy out there, but I didn't know what that was yet. Then I got to South Korea, closer again, middle of winter, big problems. And now I'm closer still. You know, I can't really be closer to China at this point without being in China. I mean, kind of, you know, I'm as close to being in China as you can be. I'm in a Chinese satellite country. I'm in a country that's so China adjacent that China, you know, China doesn't necessarily recognize the difference. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. There is nothing to say about it, just to be aware, I guess, just to know. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It just had not been something that I'd been thinking about because it, you know, you just can't see the pollution when you're down in the city streets. But we're right next to China and there is traffic everywhere. It's just unfortunately how it is. Wow, those mountains to the south, those are some serious fucking mountains. What the fuck? Like the ones that are really in the distance where I can barely see them. That is some huge stuff. You know, unfortunately, no Wi-Fi in the park, so I can't check the AQI or how tall mountains are. But again, yeah, especially now that I'm away from the traffic and I'm just walking along the shore, along the park, it's real beautiful. So at least it balances out in that regard. Well, this is pretty nice. I was walking along the riverside for a while, and then eventually I had to get past, there's an expressway over here as well, although this one on this side does not have a big wall. It's just, an above ground highway. You can just see right past it. Still a little confusing as to why it's a wall on the other side. There's a huge sign, and they put like the letters into the incline at the edge of a park. So New Taipei Metro Park, is that what this is called? There's trees in the way, so it's hard to read. Yeah, I was a little confused about which one is Taipei and which one is New Taipei. So I believe where I was is Taipei. And then New Taipei doesn't seem to be in a specific direction. It seems to be kind of all around. Like you just get outside of the core of Taipei and it becomes New Taipei. That could be wrong. But yeah, it was relatively easy to get past the traffic, and now I'm at another little park and I'm just walking along that. Pretty nice. Man, though, this is a lesson that I need to make sure I have coins on me. My early thing of like, how do I get rid of my coins? I should donate my coins. I've completely turned around on that. Now I've learned it's more and more, it's very important to have coins, including the pennies. Because, when you buy stuff, if something comes to, like I got a squid burger at McDonald's today, came to 302. Having those 2 pennies really fucking helps. Or does it though, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose maybe McDonald's would have given me back a giant handful of change, but actually maybe that would have been handy. Because I didn't have a bottle of water. I just left McDonald's and I was like, yeah, it's fine. There's convenience stores everywhere. I'll just grab a water. But the one place where there's not convenience stores is parks, And just that I went straight to a bridge, straight to a park, straight to another park. I was like, uh-oh. I think I would have had to just bail out and go into the interior city. But luckily, I eventually found a drink machine, and then they've been popping up here and there. But all I had was the 50-cent coin that around here is really worth a little over $2. So it's like a toonie by Canadian standards. That's all I had, but it was enough to buy a big bottle of oolong tea and a bottle of water. And now I'm all out again. I don't have enough to buy anything else. But yeah, the drink machines do not take bills. So just a good excuse to have a bit of coin on you just in case. This is a bit of a weird situation, but I don't know what I would have done. It's been getting increasingly hotter and hotter. I'm sweating and sweating and sweating. Not finding that machine or not having the coins to buy water would have been dangerous. I would have had to bail out of this plan. But as it is, yeah, this is pretty nice. Walking through this park, there's still big expressways on, behind me, to my left, to my right. But they're all at a distance from the park. I can't really hear them. And the park itself is really pretty. And again, these ones don't have they're not a wall underneath. So you can see through them. So it still seems like a pretty nice view all around. And in the distance are enormous mountains. But yeah, I think I can walk up through this park and end up close enough to, it's getting dark, but I think I'm just gonna sally forth even if it gets dark. Looks like the end of the yellow line. What is it called? Luzhou Station, Luzhou. Yeah, just looking at the green, the green stuff. This is gonna be a bit of a walk, but it looks like this will circle around and then the green literally connects to that station. And then that station will connect to the red line and the red line will take me home. Nice. Yeah, for just a random day. I just started walking. It's pretty fucking good, man. Pretty good. It is weird too with this excessive heat though. Where I was thinking if only I could bump into a convenience store though. It would be so nice if this park had a convenience store. But it is a little tricky of as much as I'm sweating and as much as I need the liquids. I mean, I just drank a huge bottle of tea and now I'm getting started on my huge bottle of water. My little tiny belly on top of the big ass McDonald's thing I just bought, it has difficulty having this much stuff in it. Like, I'd kind of like to stop at a convenience store and grab a popsicle, but also kind of not. My belly is like, fuck me, man. This is too much. Yeah, all these liquids, I mean, they're necessary, but they fucking add up. Oh, geez, yeah, there's another overhead expressway ahead of me. Now it's literally on all sides. But this is, yeah, it's weird. It's weird how nice this is. It's weird how not... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like normally that's the kind of thing that would be kind of a downer of like, ah, man, this park is surrounded by traffic. But it's really not that loud, and it's weirdly pretty. Just all these above ground expressways everywhere. They're kind of neat looking. And then way off in the distance, a motherfucker of a mountain. I am not even gonna guess, but big, real big, not realistic for me to go up it kind of big. Which is also beautiful. I guess too, because the sun is on its way down. It's 5:45 now. Things don't look polluted like they did when the sun was higher in the sky. Now it actually that sort of adds to the ambiance. It just kind of makes the stuff in the distance look pretty. It makes it look dusky. All right, I didn't make it all the way. There was a point in the park where there was like little ponds and stuff in the park, and I had to go bail out, and I was like, whatever. It's late in the day anyway, I don't need to figure this out today. Just a half park adventure is plenty. So I'm just cutting across New Taipei City instead, heading to an earlier stop on the train. Tons of smokers on this side of the river, like enough that I'm bringing it up. I noticed this the other day, but I noticed it again today. They started doing this thing way back in the day on Canadian cigarettes, where they just show disgusting imagery of people with like cancerous gums and things. I don't know if they ever did that in the States, but they did it in Canada. And they do it here, and it's, I haven't seen a Canadian one lately, but the ones in Taiwan are horrifying. It's like times, I don't know, maybe not times 10, but times 8. Just so ridiculously horror movie graphic that, I mean, I sympathize with trying to convince people not to smoke. Smoking's real fucking stupid. You should definitely not smoke. But obviously this is not working. I mean, at this point, you couldn't show something more gross. It's not even possible. So I think maybe a new plan is in order, because this is clearly not working. One thing that's kind of neat, though, that I've been noticing is vegetarian onigiri stuff. The term pork floss I've never heard before. I see it here all the time. I don't know what pork floss is. I assume shredded pork. Anyway, plant-based pork floss pops up quite a bit. And at the 7-Eleven I was just at, they had plant-based tuna. And I just think that's kind of cool because I'm not a vegetarian, but I sympathize. I feel like the earth should be vegetarian. There's kind of no reason why we're not doing this. If everything just became vegetarian, if vegetarian options were just all that we had, I would never complain. I just feel like that would make a lot of sense. I kind of feel like that's where things are going. But I also kind of think that, change happens gradually. I'm not really interested in pushing the agenda or even being part of the agenda. I'll just let it happen. And when it happens, I'll be fine with it. But it's interesting that there's so many vegetarian options here, which I guess is all relative. There's probably fewer than in North America, but there's way more than Japan, where there's fucking zero. You never see that shit in Japan. Amy from the YouTube channel Cakes with Faces is vegetarian. And it's just anytime I watch one of her travel vlogs, yeah, I'm always reminded of it. She always needs to find the vegetarian option. You know, you can definitely do it. She's an expert, so she manages, but it's certainly not the easiest thing. So I think that's actually pretty neat that that's so prevalent here. Again, relatively speaking. Anyway, I got another one of these cylinder coffees where I had, what was it called last time? I don't even remember now, but it was like a kind of coffee. Mandeling. This one I assume is the same thing. Sumiyaki. Sumiyaki. Not to be confused with sukiyaki. So this is probably just another type of coffee. let's just give it a shot. Because I'm actually at the train station, so I gotta guzzle this down. And I bought a plum popsicle before I head in. Nice and milky. Yeah, they're not a big fan of black coffee around here. You can get it, but it's pretty rare, which works for me. So I'm also not a fan of black coffee. Much sweeter. I liked the Mandling better. As a one-off though, this is good, but I don't know if I'd go out of my way. It's a very nice taste though. It is very sweet, but it's not just because I've said this in Japan a bunch, but the only like sweetness I really don't like is that generic sugar crisp sweetness where it just tastes like they just put sugar in something with no finesse whatsoever. This does not taste like that. This has a distinct flavor, but whatever the coffee part is, I have no fucking idea because all I can taste is the sweetness. But it's kind of nice. Almost like, there's something there. It's not brown sugar. It's not caramel. There's a distinct something, but I don't know what it is. It's actually pretty good though. It's actually pretty good. So yeah, I don't even know what this brand is that just comes in these big, tall plastic cylinders. But it's not bad. They also have a tea latte I haven't tried yet, but maybe I'll get that next time. Anyway, that's today's mini adventure. Gonna drink this, gonna eat this plum popsicle, gonna get on this train, gonna go the fuck home. All right, back in my hood, man, just the amount of time that I stood there in that last little segment, testing out the coffee. By the time I opened my plum popsicle, man, there was like a significant amount of plum popsicle juice that just poured out of the wrapper. When you buy a popsicle in August in Asia, just eat the fucking thing. Eat it right away. You don't have 5 minutes to wait. That's where I was looking again at the diagram. So I buy this one, and I get a discount on this one. It's really better to just buy one. Like, again, unless I did that technique that I did in South Korea, where I bought a cup and put all of the popsicles in it, but they don't really sell coffee in cups here. Oh, here's an Animate store. I should go down and check this out. I didn't know this was here. Another nice taste of Japan. But anyway, I just wanted to mention real quick, just because it's come up, the talk of coffee. And there was that coffee shop right around the corner from my Airbnb. I think it was called Coffee Geek. And I noticed the other day when I walked by that it was all gone. It's closed down. So I got to see the final life cycle, I guess, of a little cafe in Taipei. Yeah, it's just, this ain't the place for that. People are not looking for coffee. And it was very small. Like, it was just a tiny little place that just had, it did have one of those big espresso machines. Those are pretty expensive. They're pretty serious with the steam wands and everything. But besides that, it was just a little place with like 4 little seats and 4 seats outside, very tiny little room. So I'm sure the rent wasn't that bad. As far as business is closing, it's not like a full tragedy. They had a neon sign though that said Coffee Geek. I feel like that was probably, besides the big espresso machine, that was probably the major expense. But anyway, I never got a chance to try Coffee Geek, and it closed. So long, Coffee Geek. One less in the coffee wars of Taiwan. I think tea is going to maintain its dominance today. And I got a honey milk tea at McDonald's. Then I bought an oolong tea at the park. I'm just giving in. Tea is the way to be in Taipei. Some scooters going by to bid me adieu from Ximending, even though I know there will be plenty of scooters in my new neighborhood as well. But yeah, today is changing Airbnb's day. And my new Airbnb actually has laundry stuff. But my clothes always smell so fucking horrifying. Okay, hold on, let me pick up this fucking thing so you don't hear my wheels wheeling. This bag, my clothes always smell so horrifying. I just don't even want to have them on me for the afternoon while I wait for the new Airbnb to open up. So I'm doing laundry, paying for the laundry. It's worth it just to have clean clothes. But yeah, I was just waiting for the dryer. I went to a High Life, which is the not 7-Eleven, not Family Mart. It's the Taiwanese one. Got a coffee and a mango popsicle. And I was sitting at one of their little tables, nice and air conditioned. And there was a guy sitting next to me who it's always hard to tell because I feel like, I think it's a pretty well-known trope that many times Asian people look younger than they are. So I'm not sure. This guy's age is quite hard to gauge. But approximately my age. Maybe a little older. Again, I don't know. But yeah, he had headphones on. He took them off. And he pointed at my mango popsicle and was just like, hey, those are good, right? His English was, we talked for like 20 minutes and I basically knew what he was saying. So I'd say, I don't know, it's pretty good. His vocabulary was relatively small. His accent was pretty heavy, but it was enough, it was plenty. I guess maybe as an example, he asked where I was from. So I said Canada, and he asked me about some movie from the 50s that I didn't know what it was. That was his go-to for Canada. But it's a movie that had Marilyn Monroe in it. But he had to look up a picture on his phone of Marilyn Monroe because I didn't get that he was saying Marilyn Monroe. He couldn't believe it when I said I wasn't sure who that was. He's like, no, you know who that is. You definitely know. And I was like, oh, Marilyn Monroe, you're right. It's absurd for me to not know who that is. But I guess that's a good example. His accent was strong enough that I didn't understand Marilyn Monroe. But anyway, basically this guy, I realized after a bit, like, oh, he's been sitting here for a while because there's 4 big, tall beer cans on his table. But he didn't seem especially drunk, and he had a straw in one. I think he has just been sipping on them for the afternoon. It's a Sunday afternoon. He mentioned at one point he asked if I was traveling alone. In the laundromat, yeah, and he said he's not a fan of marriage. He applauded me being single, so maybe he was just getting away from his wife. But yeah, we did the kind of standard, where you been, whatever. He's been to Vancouver, to Jasper, then around here. I told him I went to the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial and that I was going up to the National Park. But, the basic, hey, what do you think of Taiwan? And I was like, oh, it's great. I love it. It's beautiful. Told them about how I kept hearing the music on the air and didn't know it was garbage trucks. But then I learned, and I complimented how clean Taiwan is. But what was interesting, his name was Lou, although I assume not Lou, an Asian equivalent of Lou. Oh man, I was going to do a podcast while I get my laundry. Some guy came in and sat down right next to me. Now it's awkward. Okay, hold on. Let me just get this laundry. All right, got my laundry. God, it is so fucking hot out today. Now just to slowly make my way to the subway and then to the new neighborhood. I got at least 2 hours before I can check into the new place. That's not too bad. And it's a self-check-in. Just a little, it's still a key. This is still the only place I've had a key on my journey is in Taiwan. But it's a key in a little lockbox, with a little code, so I can just check in on my own. Don't have to deal with any people. Fucking delightful. But yeah, talking to Lou, it was actually pretty handy because so we talked a bit about the Canada stuff, Taiwan. What brings you here? Oh, just a jobless traveler? Okay, cool. But what was handy is then we just basically started talking about exactly what I was curious about, exactly the kind of thing I wanted to talk about. But it was really by accident because, I don't know, it's one of these things I'm aware of that I do, but I don't really know how to change it. It's just my personality, is I really don't lead conversations. Like, I'm not going to ask about you, basically. If you're talking to me and you got something on your mind or something you want to tell me, you better tell me, because I'm not going to ask. I feel very uncomfortable with it. I don't like prying into people's lives. I don't like asking them what's going on. Maybe because it makes me uncomfortable when people do the opposite, you know. I remember during COVID, I got a little snippy with one of my friends because, I was trapped in my hometown for 4 fucking years, and he's from there. He knows how much it sucks. But he just would periodically send me messages of like, so how's things going back in the old hometown? And finally I had to be like, you need to stop sending me this message. Every 6 weeks you ask me what's going on here. Nothing's going on here. It fucking sucks and you know it sucks. Fucking cut it out. So yeah, I'm basically of the mindset, I just let people tell me or not tell me whatever they feel comfortable telling me or not telling me. So I think it can be kind of seen as self-centered, like how come I'm not asking about the other person? But I really don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't like it. Anyway, in this case, it's just a casual conversation at a convenience store. Maybe it's not even the same scenario. But basically, if I was gonna commandeer the conversation, I would want to talk about Japan and China. I'd want to talk about all the Japanese stuff around here, and obviously the flip side of that coin, the China connection. But yeah, Lou just started telling me about it, like he could read my mind. It was great. It's like, wow, that's exactly what I want to talk about. Thank you, Lou. I really don't know how that came up. I am quite sure I didn't bring up, maybe I did. Maybe I did, because we were talking about, why are you in Taiwan? So I had to explain, like, well, I didn't fly around the world just to come to Taiwan. I went to Japan and I went to South Korea and now Taiwan. I'm just trying out all the flavors. And yeah, he basically brought up that in his estimation, Taiwan has a great relationship and a great respect for Japan. He was definitely a tech guy. He had, even though it's the weekend, even though it's Sunday, he had a little laminated, ID hanging around his neck. His examples of cool Taiwan stuff was like chips and NVIDIA, AMD, stuff like that. But yeah, he said that at least from that perspective, that area of Taiwan, the tech guys have a great respect for Japan and how clever Japan is, and how basically if you're a smart guy, if you're a brainy guy, there's a good chance that you'll head over to Japan. And I said, like, oh yeah, that's actually quite similar in Canada. The brain drain. If you're a high-level Canadian, there's a very fucking good chance you're just going to go to America. It's the bigger, richer, more prominent place. But yeah, I mentioned how the Japanese influence is very clear. Even just, Moss Burger and Mr. Donut and stuff. And he's like, yeah, definitely. Like, we have a very clear connection to Japan. Which I didn't bring this up, but yeah, it's palpable in South Korea that they do not have that connection. And I have seen in my little bit of research about Taiwan, there are references to Japanese imperial rule back in the day. Japan basically, at some point or another, ruled everybody. So Taiwan was in a similar situation to South Korea, but I don't know the specifics. Things were really bad in South Korea. And and again, my knowledge is so limited, but I did learn a lot of stuff about how South Korea is really trying to eliminate Japanese words from their day-to-day vocabulary. Even just going into a convenience store, it's so obviously not the same as a Japanese convenience store, where here it's extremely the same. A lot of anger about the history books in Japan not openly acknowledging the terrible stuff they did in South Korea. Where, yeah, again, I don't know the details about the relationship between Japan and Taiwan, but at least on a surface level, it definitely doesn't feel that way. It seems much more unified. And that's what this Liu guy was straight up he was just telling me that. He was just saying, yeah, we like Japan. We respect Japan and all the cool shit it does. We want to be part of that. But then once he got on this track, oh man, I was like salivating to talk about China. Because it's like, dude, yeah, like China though. China is such a different scenario, such a bad scene, but everything around here is Chinese. Everyone speaks Chinese, you know? You may have the intellectual connection to Japan, but you have this cultural connection to China. I wanted to bring it up, but again, we're just sitting in a convenience store. It's a relatively casual conversation about Jasper and, the national parks around here. I can't just start talking about China. But luckily he did. He brought it up. And it is just basically exactly what you would expect him to say. He talked about heritage buildings and stuff around here and how we... basically, that's, I guess, what he said. Is he said, like, Taiwan tries to maintain history and the past. And, like, he pointed out, like, a building. He's like, that building over there, it's like a historical building. There's a government thing to not fuck with it, to try to keep it going. Taiwan wants to retain history where China does not. China wants to blank out whatever it wants to blank out. It doesn't want to hold on to history. It just wants to steamroll over everything. And again, in my very limited view, the little bit that I know, I can't fucking argue, The little bit I know about China and Chinese governments and Chinese, it's just, I'm not for it, man. It's totalitarian and weird. I don't like it. And this guy basically said exactly the same thing. He definitely acknowledged that his culture is basically Chinese. He's like, do you know any Chinese words? And I was like, just ni hao, I don't know any. He's like, I never learned any, eh? I was like, no, sorry, just English and French. But yeah, I think that's actually kind of an interesting take. The idea that, China is enormous. It's got 1 billion people. It is Chinese culture. It is carrying on Chinese culture just due to momentum, just due to the sheer size of the place. But it's an interesting idea that they don't seem to necessarily care about it. They're more than happy to just whitewash whatever they need to whitewash and cover up whatever they need to cover up. So it's like, even though Taiwan has this strong affiliation to Japan, I guess the argument, as I was understanding it, is kind of that even just little teeny Taiwan is in its own way more the steward of Chinese culture, is like more interested in looking after it and treating it fairly than the big juggernaut that just is kind of like, whatever, crush whoever needs to be crushed. It was a goddamn interesting conversation anyway with this half-cut tech guy from Taiwan who was just hanging out. And finally I had to go get my laundry, and I was just like, it is that weird little moment of like, I don't know, he did ask, like, any way I can keep in touch with you? And I was like, I don't have a phone number. I got Instagram. He didn't have Instagram, and it's just like, oh well, maybe I'll see you around, we had our time, that's really it. But yeah, it was kind of, if I was going to have a conversation with a local, holy geez, he hit all the, like, everything that even though it was quite a short conversation, maybe half an hour. So obviously we didn't get too deep on anything. And there was a little bit of a language barrier. And it was mainly just me absorbing, It's like, hey, what do you want to talk to me about? Marilyn Monroe and, what was the movie? I did write it down. I don't even know what the connection is to Canada. River of No Return, 1954. I was like, all right, I don't know what this is all about, but hey, dude, whatever. I'm just sitting here eating a popsicle. I'll let you talk about that. But then, yeah, he really steered the conversation into exactly the stuff that I'm actually interested in. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Nice work, my friend. But anyway, he bid me a fond trip. Hoped I enjoyed Taiwan. And yeah, it's just kind of neat to have that stuff confirmed because obviously the stuff about Japan, it's very well known, this weird contentious relationship between China and Taiwan. But the stuff about Taiwan and Japan is purely inference, All I could do was just walk around and just say what I see, I just see a ton of Japanese influence around here. So it's neat, man. Just neat to have a local guy be like, yeah, that is not an accident. We think Japan fucking rules. And we also think Chinese culture fucking rules. And China itself is not helping with either of those things. Damn interesting, man. Damn neat. But alright, I gotta continue on my insane heat journey. Motherfucker. Although this place I'm going to, built-in air conditioning. This thing should just be, I'm excited, man. And I don't know. This Airbnb would have to be pretty bad for me to walk in and have any problems. I get to be nearer the national park. It's got its own fucking air conditioner. It's got its own key code so I can just go in at my leisure. It has a communal kitchen. Maybe I can even start branching out a little, get some noodles and stuff. So, I don't know, some stuff from the convenience store that's a little more elaborate. It's a win-win-win-win. I mean, I will miss Shilin a bit, but I have been walking around this neighborhood for a couple of weeks. It's pretty good. I got a pretty good dose of it. So all in all, not too fucking bad. Not too bad of a day. Oh, here's a little something I can bring up as I stroll through Ximending for the last time. But again, I can come back here anytime, you know. But the last time where it's just my neighborhood that just exists outside my door. But yeah, I can yammer a little bit about same-sex couples because I just saw they were both super muscular. These two dudes, total gym bros. I was impressed with their physiques. But yeah, they were holding hands, walking down this pedestrian promenade in Ximending. And I mean, I don't know how much I can infer from just seeing a couple of dudes for 10 seconds. But they didn't look super comfortable. But I mean, that could be anything. Maybe they're just having a bad day. I don't know. But what I inferred from it was maybe it's not the most comfortable thing to be a gay couple walking around hand in hand, because it just kind of isn't anywhere, you know? I feel like the earth on a pass-fail gets a fail on acceptance of, you know, anyone that's not just the straight-up male-female couple. I'm not willing to give anybody especially large points on that front. But I was thinking how here in Taiwan, I saw those guys. I definitely saw a lesbian couple the other day. And that's all I can think of off the top of my head. But let's say one more. There's probably one more gay couple somewhere in there that I saw somewhere that's just not coming back to mind. So it's a very small number. But that feels like a huge number compared to South Korea and Japan, where I saw zero visible gay couples. And again, it could just be random. But I did walk around both those countries for a long fucking time. So I've seen way more gay representation in Taiwan just in a couple of weeks of being here. Though, like I said, it still feels relatively small. And I could have been misreading those guys that I just saw. But yeah, it felt a bit like they were, you know, it's like that thing you gotta do. You gotta put the icebreaker on the front of the ship and you gotta push your way through, you know, like that's what it felt like, is that they're kind of maybe at that point where they're not being openly criticized or shunned for being gay, but maybe it's still not like comfortable to be out in public. But again, I could be totally misreading. But I just think that's kind of interesting. Even though I'm just one guy walking around at random, it's not much of a sample size, but it seems pretty undeniable that if I had to guess, if I had to put down a guess on who's comfortable with what, I saw one female presenting guy in Japan. I saw a tiny handful of gay couples here in Taiwan, and I saw nothing of that type whatsoever in South Korea, despite the fact that I was there twice as long. So, you know, take that as you will. I'm sure there's actual statistics and information out there, but that's what I've seen. So I think that's just interesting to bring up. So I guess, like I said, I'm not willing to give the big pat on the back to any country. The entire earth could be doing better on this front. But, change takes time. Things will get there. It's just a slow process, but it appears that the process is farther along here in Taiwan, which is, again, it just sort of fits with what it has felt like here in general, that it was easy to get into the country. Everyone's been super friendly. Everything feels easier here, where, Japan is very angular, very persnickety, very distinct in the way they behave. South Korea felt much more casual than Japan. Things did feel more easy, but there's still definitely an underlying social structure in South Korea that is downright suffocating. It must be really tough if you're a South Korean. I got to skirt around it as a visitor, but there's no question that the casualness is on the surface only in South Korea. Under the surface, everything is a stress ball. So from talking to immigration at the airport, to just walking around at random, to talking to some guy in a fucking convenience store. Things feel a lot looser in Taiwan on both axes, on the axes of just the casual feeling of the environment as you wander around, and the underlying social pressures. I'm sure they're still, it's still Asia. I'm sure it's rough, but that also seems much looser than the other places I've been. I don't know, I'm really racking my brain. I feel like in 6 months in South Korea, did I really not see any same-sex couples holding hands while they walked around? Maybe I did, but if I did, it was literally once, and I honestly think I might just be inventing a memory now that I'm trying to visualize, and I can't conjure up the image. But yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit interesting. Stop talking about anime and giant robots for a second. Or I guess more accurately in my case, popsicles and coffee. I am starting to realize, just to completely flip the topic, I was like, I should just go with tea. If tea is going to be the main thing around here and not coffee, I should just get tea. But I am starting to realize I just like coffee better. I don't dislike tea, but I am a coffee guy, for sure. Speaking of, it's probably about that time that I go get me a coffee to fuel my way out of this neighborhood. I still don't know the name of the brand, but the brand that comes in these tall plastic cylinders here. I got their latte version. There's a tea latte and a coffee latte, so I got the coffee latte. It's really fucking good, dude. It's real good. But yeah, they just don't have the name in English, so is it better or worse than Bernachon? I'm not sure, but Bernachon gets an edge because I know what it's called. That's a bonus. Like anybody cares, right? I should be fucking thankful that there's ever English on anything anywhere. Like anyone gives a fuck what stupid coffee from the goddamn convenience store some random dickhead Canadian likes. But yeah, I'm a little bit before, probably my Airbnb's all set to go. I could probably just get there right now, but I always feel a little uncomfortable. Like they say I can check in at 2 o'clock. It's 1:45. I don't want to show up right at 2. I don't know. I'd rather show up at just enough late that they have a comfortable amount of time to get everything ready. But unfortunately, it's just not that long of a journey out here. I tried to eat up some time, but it's just it's not really happening today. I'm already here. But I did go one extra step farther on the train. One stop farther than I've ever been, and I'll just walk back from there. That's a nice way to explore the neighborhood a bit and eat up a little time. Man, though, I'm amazed I haven't gotten caught in a rainstorm yet, because they are fucking crazy. I've noticed this a bit, but last night especially. I was in all evening last night, and it would just start raining like fucking mad outside. Just like the craziest rain you've ever heard in your life. For 20 minutes, and then it would just slow down and stop. And I was thinking like, shit, I'm glad I wasn't outside in that. And then like an hour and a half later, it would happen again. It's just like, fuck. It's probably kind of exciting to be outside in that, but depending on, what kind of stuff you got on you, I don't know, it could be real bad. And then the rolling thunder starts, the just like crazy loud, just like grinding, crazy sheet metal noise in the sky that just won't stop. But yeah, today, it was hot as balls. I went into the main street station, took a gander at all the anime and video games, then got on the train, and just in that little amount of time that I walked through the underground mall and then was underground for a couple of stops before the train went above ground, at some point in there, I looked at the window once we were above ground and it's like, uh-oh, everyone has umbrellas. And I realized it was raining crazy hard, but it was still kind of sunny out. It's like, how can it be, like I know there's sun showers, but how can it be this sunny and this rainy at the same time? It's fucking weird as hell. But luckily, keeping with the pattern, by the time I got to this stop, it's totally fine now. The rain is totally stopped. You wouldn't even know that it had been raining like crazy. Everything's already fucking evaporated off the ground. It's like, I'm just walking by benches and stuff, they're not wet. So yeah, I don't know, man. I have a feeling that's gotta happen. It has to happen eventually. I suppose especially if I start heading toward the national park, I'll just be outside more. I gotta start making a point to have that umbrella on me all the time. I gotta figure something out. Cause yeah, this shit is wild around here. It's cool too, just looking at the map. I saw like a little hiking path on the way here. And I'm looking at the map and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Look at this little hiking thing. And then that appears to be a mountain behind it. And like, yeah, that's just like between here and Ximending. Like, I should go check that out. And then I realized, like, why am I looking at the map? If I just turn around, God damn, are you kidding? 2 beeping buses back to back. This just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make sense for buses to never stop beeping. I don't, that's the kind of safety that is not, that's just, I don't know. I guess it's safer, but it's maddening. That's insane. Anyway, I realized, why am I trying to determine about this, if this thing is a mountain or not? If I just turn around and look out the window, I'm right next to it. So I did. I just turned around and there's the mountain. It's like, sweet. Right in the city. It was kind of like a Busan type of situation where instead of being far away like the national park, it's a much smaller mountain, but it's right there. So that seems like a plan, a short-term plan. But yeah, just to start, time to just start exploring. Just start exploring around here and see what happens. But yeah, that was kind of a neat one, man. It's kind of cool just running into a person and having a chat. Doesn't happen all that often on this podcast, but it usually leads to something interesting. And yeah, that one today I feel like is just perfect. I met just the right guy to illuminate some of the things that have been on my mind at this stage. So I just took a little nappy nap, left the new Airbnb now at night, and man, it's like walking outside at night. At first it's like, oh, is this all right? Is this kind of nice? This seems okay. And yeah, just in this very moment, a little breeze just picked up, and man, that makes a lot of difference. Because when this breeze disappeared, I was like, oh wait, no, this isn't nice. How did I get tricked? It's immediately still just like, oh God, I'm so hot. Just immediate, that gross, sticky, sweaty feeling. Instant. But yeah, the new Airbnb seems pretty cool. It's somewhat like going back to the Korea days of the share house, where it is a little teeny tiny room, probably about the same size as the rooms in the share house in Seoul, but better, because they had a bed and a desk. This has a bed, a desk, a nice little, very economical basically instead of like a place to hang up your clothes, you can hang up a couple of things, but it's mainly kind of like drawers, open air drawers for your clothes. Works pretty well. You can put a lot of stuff there. And importantly, an air conditioner. And I still, I'm just, I think just again, like I was saying before, since I didn't grow up with air conditioners, I think I just don't get that idea of using an air conditioner all the time. I feel weird about it. I feel weird turning on an air conditioner and getting under some covers or putting on layers to then battle the air conditioner. But yeah, I just turned on the air conditioner a little bit here and there just to chill the room a little, because again, that works for me. And since it's such a tiny little room, man, it is very, very quick for it to get nice and cool in there. And yeah, I noticed after taking the little nap and then opening the door to the common area, and it's just like whoosh, like I'm in an actual greenhouse. It's just like fuck me. I mean, that's fine, I'll just keep my little area cool, and that's fine. But I couldn't believe it. Like, it is just heat that I've just never fucking experienced in Canada. And it's crazy to think that I'm subtropical. This is still not the tropics. It gets worse. The earth gets so fucking hot. It's absolutely crazy. Like, how do you live? How do you live? I know people think that about the cold, but I think that about the hot. How do you live here? How do you do it? But yeah, the place seems cool because it is just a little wee tiny room. But as compared, say, to the place in Seoul, and I think the price here, it's about $20 a day, I believe, where Seoul was super cheap. Probably because I was there in the middle of winter, but it was like $16 a day or something. It was crazy. But, whatever. Cheap versus cheap. Comparable levels of super cheapness. Either one is totally fine. And this one, it's only 4 rooms, and there are 2 different bathroom showers. So that's like crazy, because that share house in Seoul was it was a big bathroom, it had like several bathroom stalls and urinals, and technically it had 3 showers, but they were lined up military style, so it was very rare for anyone to ever double up. Pretty much people just used it one person at a time for like 30 rooms, and that was fine. But this seems nuts, dude. I have 2 wet rooms, 2 toilets/showers for 4 rooms. And I believe there's only 2 of us there right now. So yeah, I think it's just me and Cody from America. He was on the phone when I came in, so I only met him briefly. I don't know where in America he's from. He's like a young go-getter. He's like half my age. Seems nice enough. When he said he's from America, I was like, Canada, America, it's about the same thing. And he just said like, I don't know if it is. That's all I know about him. But there's like a huge common room. That's actually kind of funny, I guess, because the rooms themselves are so small. But the common room is really big and has a huge flat screen TV that I'll just never use. And then there's a nice kitchen and a fridge and all kinds of stuff. Whether or not I'll use it, who knows? But I got it. I got all the, it's a whole apartment. It's just an apartment, except my roommate is just Cody from America. There's a washing machine on the balcony out back. It's like the 4th floor of this place. It's like Fort Knox to get in there, though. I got a key for the front door, but then I've got to use a code to get into the apartment proper, but then I got a key for my room. So 2 keys and a code. I'm just at some kind of complex where they said on the map there's a Daiso. I don't see it. But maybe I can get into this place and walk around. Oh, here we go. Are these hallways and stuff? I think I've done it. I think I learned how to walk inside. Oh man, air conditioning. Oh my God, it's so good. Anyway, I'm gonna walk around here, see if I can find a Daiso. So yeah, everything is going nicely. New place seems cool. I also noticed that the hiking trail I noticed earlier that is right inside the city, like right next to one of the metro stops. It's not especially large, but yeah, it reminds me of saying like of Busan, of You know, you just hop off the train, you just walk out the door, and there's a mountain you can hike up. But there's a McDonald's on the other side of that mountain. So obviously I won't be doing that tonight because it's dark. But that's, I think that's funny. That could be a plan. That'll be the quest, you know? Like the quest just to get over the mountain. That's fine. That's a quest in and of itself. But it's so neat when you have a mountain that's got city on both sides, because then you can have silly quests. You can just do dumb crap like the quest for McDonald's. Man, this place is fucking huge now that I'm in here. I'm heading down to the bottom. It's like a Mr. Donut and a food court. Like, would Daiso be at the bottom? Whatever floor I was on before was way too fancy. But then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 5 proper floors and a 6th one. Oh yeah, someone's coming down from the 6th one. So 6 floors of this goddamn mall. Holy shit. So yeah, leaving the quote-unquote city center. Certainly not, it's not like, oh, now I'm in rural town. It's like the opposite. I think I was in the older part of the city before. And now, I'm in the new shit. Oh, here's a coffee chain. Key Coffee. That's a Japanese chain. I've seen that before, but I've never been to one. This could be an option. Maybe I can find a coffee shop that doesn't cost $6 million to get a latte. Yeah, these prices look normal. They have like normal drip coffee that costs like $4.50. I can do $4.50. $4.50 is a lot better than $8. It's just that $8 at fucking Starbucks shit is not doing that. Anyway, I'm gonna have to find a map or something. This place is fucking nuts. If I just wander randomly, I ain't gonna find shit. Well, here's something weird. I walked around this whole mega mall and there's everything in the world but not a Daiso. And I was like, I mean, maybe it's not here anymore, maybe it closed or something. But I got some Wi-Fi and hopped on the reviews, and no, it's actually super new. It only opened a month ago. So I was like, okay, it is here for sure, but there's no directions anywhere on Google Maps. It's like, all right, you're at the building, surely you can figure this out. And I was like, yeah, but I can't though. But I finally found a little sign of where everything is. What stores are on what floor. So it's like basement up through floor 5 is various stuff. And then I saw the floor that had Daiso and some other things, floor 12. I was like, wait, what? Something doesn't match here. What are you talking about? All I wanted was a water bottle, you know? Kind of thing I'm sure you can get a million places, but I just don't know where to look. And I just know, you know, Daiso will have it. So it's just easy enough to go there. And I did. I got one now for 49 new Taiwanese dollars, aka a couple bucks. But yeah, I was already starting to notice around the central pillar part of this place that the escalators were starting to freak me out. You know, there's escalators deeper in that are fine, but then there's escalators that are near the big central open area and is getting too high up. You know, if I looked down, it's like, oh, freaking me out with my fear of heights. But then, so I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to take an elevator to get up to 12, because now I'm looking around, like, is there another way out of here? I don't think so. I mean, there must be a fire exit, but I don't know how to escape from here without the elevator. I think I got to go squeeze into the elevator. But it's full of people waiting to get in the elevator, so I'll wait till I'm done yammering. But unfortunately, this elevator, it's open, glass, not open, but you know, it has a glass wall, so you can look out at the awfulness as you go up. And yeah, they're not kidding. It's floor 12, man. You go up past the 5 floors of the mall, and then 6 through 11 are parking. It's just cars. And you go up and up and up and up. And if you're scared of heights, your stomach churns and churns and churns, and your legs get weird, and you're like, oh, here's the window. Yeah, I can go look. Oh, that's a nightmare. God, just looking through the window. Like, I can't even see all the way down. I can see down to floor... Can I see all the way? Okay, yeah, I can see all the way. There's the Mr. Donut, but I gotta lean way over. Ugh. Ugh. So anyway, what a weird mega mall. 5 floors is not enough. They're like, throw another one on there. But, we already filled up all the other spaces with parking. What about floor 12? Put the shit on floor 12, man. So, anyway, I found my stupid fucking Daiso water bottle on floor 12 of the mega mall. But yeah, now I gotta go squeeze my way into an elevator with a bunch of locals and try not to let anybody notice that I'm doing my best to not stand at the back of the elevator by the glass wall. Not let them know that I'm terrified and trying not to piss myself. Wish me luck. But yeah, Daiso mission accomplished. So join me next episode for more of this fascinating, exciting, rambunctious adventure. Till then, adios. Try not to let my fear come through in my voice, and I'm probably failing. One last little elevator update. The elevator did open up at the very bottom, opened up to the Key Coffee. So I was like, already building good associations with Key Coffee. It's on basement 1. It's on the first floor. It couldn't be safer. But I managed somehow, even with these millions of people, because there's 3 different elevators, it all timed out that I actually got on an elevator with just me and one other guy. It was mostly empty. And he was looking at his phone, and I was like, I'm going to do it, man. I'm just going to look out the window the whole time. And I just looked out the window as we went down and down and down and down and down. And it wasn't mega scary. It was like 10% scary. But just the feeling is like you've fallen out of a plane. Something horrible has happened and you're plummeting to the earth, but slow. Not slow in the sense that you're going to survive, slow in the sense that it's like your life is flashing before your eyes and everything seems to be in slow motion. That's how it felt. Ugh. All right, well, I got my fucking water bottle. Let us never come back to, not come back to here again. Again, hey, basement floor with its nice coffee shop. We'll see. But let us never return to floor 12. We don't need to go into the heavens to buy dollar store shit. What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, see you next time.